Shana Tova, everyone. Please wave if you can see me or hear me. That's great. It's wonderful, wonderful to be able to greet everyone. I just want to share some very unsettling and very sad news, which is that in the final moments of the year 5780, the battery on the usual microphone died. It's very sad. We will be remembering those batteries at Yisker. It's just been a great year, hasn't it? I want to welcome everyone wherever you are. And I want to thank you all for being here. I want you to understand that what is about to happen over the next 10 days has never happened in the history of the world. And it's the following: that the overwhelming majority of Jewish communities around the world this year, on the days of awe, as it has been since mid-March, now 6 months, half a year, will not be in synagogue. They will be in cyber synagogues. And that poses challenges and it poses opportunities. So even before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge all of those people who have made this possible. Before I go any further, I want to thank Marcy Gorman, our member, and M&M Theater Company for the hundreds of hours that they spent helping us with all the technical work, the pre-recording of many of our services, with an attentiveness and with a grace that we should all envy. And so too, I want to thank Carol Ann up in the balcony, making sure that we all get this. That being said, as we begin this new year, I want to seek your forgiveness in advance. There will be glitches. There might be Zoom problems. Our internet will be fuzzy. Your internet will be fuzzy. And so I'm going to ask you to remember that we are the Jewish community. We are a family. I'm also going to ask you to remember throughout the days of awe that the visuals that you present to your friends and family, this is what we see, which is a nice way of saying if you don't want to be seen for some reason, turn off your camera. You all look wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Second, you should know that everyone will be muted during the SEDER, which is something that I'm sure many of you would have liked to have tried at your Pesach SEDER, especially with obstreperous and problematic relatives. And then I'm going to ask you all to cut us some slack. Cut yourselves some slack. We're going to have to be flexible and we're going to have to be forgiving. Now, with me at the table is our Executive Director, Karen Steinberg, our Director of Education, Jackie Klein, and virtually from a distance, our artist in residence, whom you have come to know and love over the past month, our good friend, Neshama Karlbach. Neshama,
Jeff.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I wish I was at that table with you guys. It looks yum.
Wait till you see the fish head.
Oh my.
It's a rather prodigious fish head.
Good for you.
Shabbat Shalom, Neshama.
Shabbat Shalom, friend.
And I
Such
want
an
to thank
honor to be with
Jackie Tepper, who is Neshama's manager, agent, handler, and food taster, who is behind the scenes helping out. Neshama,
Jeff.
we're around the table.
Yay.
Let's do a nigun.
I love it. I wanted to share a song that you don't have a slide for, which means you cannot be lost in the words. It means that you just have to feel it with your heart and take it in and breathe it in as a spirit experience. This is a song called Achat Sha'alti from a psalm that we have been saying the whole month of Elul. One thing I ask of you, God, I just want to sit in your house all the days of my life. I just want to sit in your arms with you. And there are some people who talk about, what a huge request that is. It's just one thing, but it's the biggest thing. But what I wanted to just suggest to you and offer to you tonight is we all believe, or some of us at some point, I would never want to generalize, sometimes human beings look externally for the affirmation that they're doing the right thing in their lives. Sometimes we need that sign, we need someone else to tell us that we're doing the right thing, that we're on the right page, that we're on the right path. But what I want to suggest to you is that you are in the arms of God right now. You are where you are supposed to be right now. And that's hard sometimes. And sometimes that house is not the house we want to be in. Sometimes it's really painful, but you are here. And the power to change things, the power to see things differently, the power to create newness, it is all you. It's all in your hands. So when we ask that one thing in this new year, may we be blessed as we receive the power to hold our lives in our hands, all the moments of our lives. This is Achat Sha'alti. And this is for you, Jeff. I'm so proud of you for all of your gorgeous hard work, and so honored to partner with you. I'm just asking one thing.
Our SEDER is a tribute to the Sephardic contribution to Jewish religion and culture. If you have never experienced the Rosh HaShanah SEDER before, it is because so much American Judaism, what's that word we sometimes use? Ashkenormative. Thank you, Jackie. We are going to conquer our Ashkenormativity. And you see a map of the Sephardic world, the Sephardic diaspora. When the Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492, and then to Portugal in 1497, and then going north to Amsterdam and to Hamburg, ultimately to London, going east to various cities in Italy, to the Balkans, to the Ottoman Empire, ultimately to the land of Israel. Our Sephardic cousins do not say L'Shana Tova. They have different words. They say, and you can try these, they say Tisku L'Shanim Rabot. May you merit many years. They say Tisku Vatihiyu Orach Yamim. May you merit a long life. And this is my favorite one because actually it's a little bit edited in this version that we're seeing on the screen. The Sephardic New Year's blessing is, and this is so appropriate this year, may the old year and its curses end. Tachel Shana Uvirkoteha, and let the new year begin with all its blessings. And so at this time, I would like to call upon Karen Steinberg, our executive director, to light our candles. And I'm doing this not only because she's a nice person. I'm doing it because she and our entire staff have worked so hard during the last 2 months to make this happen that you would think that this is Pesach and that we're getting out of slavery. And so please bring some light now into our darkness, Karen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chad l'kneh shel Shabbat v'yom tov.
Amen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. We've placed into the Seder questions that you can ask yourselves, and we'll take some time during the Seder from time to time to allow you to discuss those questions around your tables. The first question, Jackie, let's think about this one. Where's the darkness in the world today?
So I think the darkness is. So I was thinking about this question over the week, and I think oftentimes the darkness is in areas where we're not feeling hopeful. It's so easy to feel frustrated, but it's sometimes harder and to find those moments of light, and especially now when everything is so very different. So I'm hopeful that we're going to find less of those dark moments in the coming weeks.
Amen. Bring the light. Bring the light. Let us drink from life as deeply. As we drink from this cup, I invite you now to fill your Kiddush cups, and let us make the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol am, v'romamanu mikol lashon, v'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav. Vatitein lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava et yom haShabbat hazeh ואת יום הזיכרון הזה, יום זיכרון תרועה, באהבה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ודברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת וישראל ביום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. לחיים. We come now to our first symbol, which is the date. But before we get to the date, I want to share something with you. There are certain teachings that we need to remember on this Rosh HaShanah. And I want you all to understand that we are not the first generation of Jews to cope with crisis. In Germany in 1938, a prominent German Jew approached Rabbi Leo Beck, who was a Reform rabbi, a Liberalische rabbi, the undisputed leader of the Jewish community in Berlin. And this lay leader asked Rabbi Beck, how will we get through this crisis? And Leo Beck looked at him and said words that I will always remember. Wir Juden haben alte Augen. We Jews have old eyes. We Jews have very old eyes. Our eyes have seen the greatest moments that civilization can offer, and our eyes have seen the worst moments that civilization could have imagined. And as we look at this world through our old Jewish eyes, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you that the most important words of this season all begin with the English letters R-E. What we need to be is resilient, responsive, and responsible. Now, before we get to the dates, I should tell you that the Sephardic Seder that we are experiencing is filled with Hebrew puns and even English puns. So I could say to all of you that this year we've been Seder but wiser. Oh, no one's laughing. That's probably appropriate. The story of resilience. The heroes of this story are not human. They're actually date palm trees. And those date palm trees sprouted this past year from ancient date seeds that archaeologists found all over Israel. 2,000-year-old seeds. And I want you to understand something. The heroine of this story is Dr. Sarah Sullen, who is a doctor at the Hadassah Medical Center in Jerusalem. And a bunch of archaeologists brought her boxes of soil from various archaeological sites all over Israel. And they brought her a box of soil. You can't make this up. They brought her a box of soil from Masada. And she found date seeds from Masada 2,000 years ago. And she planted those seeds and they sprouted. Those are very tough, resilient seeds. So, Karen, tell us about the date.
Thank you. The Hebrew word for date, tamar, reminds us of the Hebrew word yitamu, which means to put an end to. We strive to put an end to the pandemic which afflicts our world. We anticipate the date when we can be together once again.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'etz. Yehi ratzon lefanecha Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shitamu sonenu ve'ohiveinu. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that we will rise up victorious and whole over our enemies, both visible and invisible. And I ask you to engage yourselves in the question, what are our visible and invisible enemies? Now, Karen, I invite you to pass around the plate with both the apples and the dates. By the way, you should know something about these dates, my friends. They are without pits. Do you know why? Because this past year, for so many people, life has been the pits. Do you forgive me?
I forgive you, Rabbi. Do I get to eat a date now because I forgive? Yes.
And now what you've all been waiting for. Carol Ann, can we focus on the fish head, please? Why the head of a fish? Because it is Rosh HaShanah, the head of the year. We want to use our heads. Morally and spiritually, we want to be at the head of the line. We want to lead and not merely follow. The Jewish people has been a people of leaders, innovators, creative thinkers. Let us put our qualities of leadership to work for the good of all people. We think of those who have straggled behind, physically and economically, the weak, the vulnerable. In the coming year, we commit ourselves to walking with them as well. Yehi ratzon milifanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, sheniyeh l'rosh v'lo l'zanav. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that we will be like the head and not the tail. And so in the coming year, in what ways do you hope to lead? Just take a moment, a minute or so, discuss that with your family and friends at your table. The second re word is responsive, and it's about how to use your head. I want to take you back to the city of New Orleans in 1861. It was the beginning of the Civil War, and New Orleans was under a blockade, and nothing could get into or out of the city. And then came the festival of Sukkot, and there was a problem. There were no etrogim. Now you see, there were plenty of myrtle and willow and lulav branches because, in case some of you hadn't noticed, palm branches are native to southern soil, but there were no etrogim. This went down in American Jewish history as the Great Etrog Crisis of 1861. Now, the Orthodox rabbi of the community was Rabbi Bernard Eloi. He was a great scholar. In fact, he was one of the greatest scholars that Judaism ever produced in the United States. And here was the problem. They didn't have etrogim for Sukkot. And people came to him and they said, Rabbi Eloi, what should we do? We can't have Sukkot without an etrog. And what Rabbi Eloi said was this: go to Publix, because there was Publix in those days.
Shopping is a pleasure.
And except back then they knew how to spell it correctly. And buy yourself a lemon. I said, Rabbi, a lemon? That's not okay. A lemon's a lemon, an etrog is an etrog. He said, no, look, take the lemon, take the lulav, shake them together the way you normally would, but don't make the blessing over the etrog. He used his head. It's called being responsive. You see, Rabbi Eloi must have thought that if they let Sukkot go that year, 1861 in New Orleans, it would be over. They would never pick up Sukkot again. And so we have the brains of Rabbi Eloi. We use our head. We are responsive. Now, at this time, I would like us to remember those who are ill. I would like us to think of those who are not at our tables, those who suffer inwardly and outwardly. I would like us to remember the first responders, the physicians, the medical researchers, all of those people who made healing possible in this past year. Our congregation remembers Moshe Zak ben Asher, Vitzipora Zak, Nadine Dina Blackett, Amanda Brown, Alyssa Brown, Jennifer Carter, Dr. Danny Chamovitz, Shira Chamovitz, Larry Cohen, David Dykman, Mark DeVore, Melissa Fisher, Marcia Fligman, Betty Gilbert, Nancy Hart, Esther Devora Batchaya Sima, Richard Jacoby, Eileen Melnick, Pessel Batmilka, Edward Morris, Robert Nussbaum, Harry Plastic, Suzanne Ross, Deborah Pellet Salustro, Chaya Batshifra Bela, Stephanie Stein, Kay Wiener, and Leonard Wiener. And if there are other names that you would like to mention around your tables or type into the chat, we invite you to do so. Rafa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, v'hoshienu v'nivasheha. Heal us, Adonai, and we will be healed. Deliver us, and we will be delivered, for you are the essence of our praise. Grant complete healing to all our wounds, inner and outer. You who are the sovereign presence in our midst, you are a faithful and merciful healer. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick of our people, Yisrael, and of all people. Neshama, remind us that we need to be written B'Sefer Chaim.
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו בכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום.
Jackie. Tell us about the pomegranate.
The Hebrew word for pomegranate is rimon. It is also the word for the ornaments on the handles of the Torah scroll. It is also the modern Hebrew word for hand grenade. May the day soon come when we'll stand before the Torah scroll in this sanctuary. We pray as well for the day when no one will have to use those hand grenades. They say that a pomegranate has 613 seeds in it, representing the number of mitzvot in the Torah. May we aspire to encounter numerous opportunities for mitzvot in the coming year.
Yehi ratzon melefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, she'tarbe zechutotenu kirimon. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that we will be full of good seeds, just that we will be full of good deeds, just as the pomegranate is filled with seeds. So what seeds of goodness you planted this year?
Seeds that are planted, flowers. Just flowers, coming home to look at the beautiful flowers around the house, make you relaxed a little.
And you moved recently.
Yes, I did move just this week.
That's insane.
Absolutely it is.
Who moves several days before Rosh Hashanah in the Jewish world? Can I just ask you that?
Jews themselves are super people.
We are.
We can do it all.
We are super people. Jackie, what have you been planting this year in terms of seeds of goodness?
So I think here at Temple Israel, I hope that I really helped to create some seeds of goodness in our youth, excitement in our programs, and just providing a source of comfort and space for people to gather.
Thanks, Jackie. All right, over to you, Karen. Karen, you are now in charge of telling us about the string bean.
The string beans. There you go, Rabbi. The word for string bean is rubia, which is similar to the Hebrew word yibu, to be abundant. If only abundance could be the gift to all God's children. Yet we acknowledge those who are frail, those fragile, those in economic distress, those who face personal uncertainty. May the goodness in their lives increase, and may they find abundant hope.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'adama. Yehi ratzon melefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, she'yirbu zechuyotenu. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that our merits will increase. So I want you all to think for a little bit here. How have you experienced abundance and success in the past year? It's not been easy to feel that. But I'm wondering if you can find those little places where the light has come in. Because what makes it possible is our clinging to Avinu Malkeinu, the one who loves us, the one who holds us close.
Something is a problem. There's a problem. Not yet. Okay.
We're good? And we're back. Hey, remember those glitches that I told you about? Right now, there was, are we talking puns here? Caroline, was there a leak in our Zoom system for a moment? There was, okay. All right. Karen, tell us about the leak.
The leak. The sage Rabbi Meir lived in a violent neighborhood. He was often the victim of harassment and physical violence. He prayed for his tormentors to die. His wife, Berariah, said, "Do not pray that the evil one should die. Pray rather that evil itself will die." The Hebrew word for leak is karti. It resembles the Hebrew word karet, which means to cut off. Let us pray, not that people should be cut off from the world, but that evil deeds themselves be cut off.
Yehi ratzon melefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shikartu sonenu. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that we can cut off hatred from the world. So in a world and in a nation that is filled with such hatred, ask yourselves now, what are those sources of hatred that you would want to destroy, that you would want to banish from the world and from yourself? Jackie, tell us about the beats.
The Hebrew word for beat is selek. It reminds us of the word yistalku, which means to retreat. We think of Jonah, the last story that we'll tell during these days of awe. Side note, everyone, I'm rapping during the family service about Jonah.
And we also have in the afternoon Yom Kippur Ari Lesser, who is going to be giving a rap about Jonah.
Yes. We got a Jonah rap scene going on for Yom
Kippur. Because people of
Assyria
people of Nineveh, they got a bad rap.
Absolutely. Just a small pun plug there. He tried to escape from his life mission and from God. Yes, we want to retreat from our higher sense of ourselves, from the pain of the world, from being fully present for our loved ones. Let us retreat from our bitterness, our cynicism, and our imposed solitude. Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, sheyistalku ovinu umastinenu. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that we leave behind all things that hold us back.
So the first RE word was resilient. That was about the seeds that became the dates. The second RE word, the second re word, was responsive. That was about Rabbi Eloi, who figured out that yes, you can do Sukkot with a lemon, you just have to make a couple of quick changes. And now our third re word, which is responsible. We're going to go back to Vilna in 1848. That's where my ancestors were from. Many of us have ancestors from Vilna. Vilna was in either, you choose, Poland, Lithuania, Russia. It changed every week. That was their way of keeping people awake. It was the intellectual capital of Eastern European Jewry. It's 1848, and there is a cholera epidemic. Now, listen, I want to tell you, however bad COVID-19 is, it's got nothing on cholera. The cholera epidemic of 1848 was an unmitigated disaster which devastated much of Eastern Europe. The great rabbi of Vilna was Yisrael Salanter. And he was the founder of the Musar movement, which our member Barry Horowitz, and I know that our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Howard Shapiro, and other people have been studying. In fact, I will tell you that if my ancestors had been on the board of his shul, I think they would have made his life miserable. It's 1848, cholera epidemic. It's Yom Kippur. It's a fast day. And people are suffering terribly. So what did Rabbi Salanter say to his community? There are times when one must turn aside from the Torah if by so doing it will save a whole community. With the consent of God and with the consent of this congregation, we give permission to eat and drink on Yom Kippur. And with that, on the pulpit, he poured himself a goblet of wine, he made kiddush, he ripped off a piece of challah, he made motzi. Does anyone know why he did that? Because he knew that there was a value that was more important than Yom Kippur. My friends, if you've been wondering aloud why it is that we're here and you're there, and we mourn the temporary loss of our ability to be together, it's because we're being, what's that R-E word again? Responsible. Because life takes precedence over everything. And you will ask me, when will this end? And I will say, I do not know. But I will say to you, with the permission of God and of this congregation, that we will continue to sanctify life. It's called being responsible. Neshama, remember us. Remind us that we want God to remember us for life.
Zochreinu lechayim, melech hafetz b'chayim, v'chatbeinu b'sefer hachayim, le'mancha Elohim chayim.
We long for that sweetness of life, to hold each other again in our arms as well as in our souls. In a world filled with vitriol, polarization, and anger, let us be the ones who bring a renewed sense of sweetness to the world. Yehi ratzon melefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that you renew for us a good and sweet year. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'etz. Neshama, remind us of what we can still believe.
Let us light these lights for the world tonight. Let our hearts unite in the light, in the light. There is a spark in every soul, awakening. And I believe the source is love. I believe. Don't give up on everything you've dreamed. It's closer than it seems. Who among hasn't hoped or believed that there would come a day, and that day will make love light up the sky. That day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. I close my eyes so I can see all that can. We will rise. I do believe. I do believe. So don't give up on everything you dream. It's closer than it seems. Who among us hasn't hoped or prayed that there would come a day, and that day will make love light up the sky. That day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. I believe, I believe, I believe, that day will make love light up the sky. That day we'll see heaven in each other's eyes. Do you see? Believe. I believe. I believe. Let us light these lights for the world tonight. Let our hearts unite. Sing aloud. In the light, in the light. I gotta hear you. In the light, 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 in the light. Shana Tova.
The Talmud calls the gourd kara, which also means to tear. We remember those whom death has torn from us. Yehi ratzon milefanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, shetikra roa gazar dinenu, v'ikaru lefanecha zechuyotenu. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that pain and suffering be torn up, and that our merits will be proclaimed before us as we walk through the world. We remember those who have died recently, and those whose yahrzeits we mark on this Shabbat, on this first night of Rosh HaShanah. We think of Joan Susskind Bissell, Gloria Miller, Millicent Zahn Rudnick. We remember as well those whose yahrzeits we mark on this Shabbat, on this Rosh Hashanah: Bill Barros, Mildred Berman, Lillian Blackman, Fred Cohen, Sidney Edelstein, Stanley Fishbane, Pearl Fuchs, Gilbert Getz, Samuel Gordon, Maxine Haff, Norma Harris, Mary Holland, Charles Hotchkiss, Nathan Kaufman, Samuel Kosberg, Beatrice Lichtenberg, Robert List, Meyer McGarrer, Ray Meyer, Janet Miller, Howard Price, Norman Rausch, Laura Schulman, Beverly Shapiro, Dorothy Smith, Jack Tolkowski, Julia Terr, Hyman Wurtzel. I invite you to, if you wish to rise either physically or spiritually, inwardly, for the words of Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'chudsha b'richu. Le'elam yiko birchata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. I would like to call upon Elaine Feldmesser to give us some Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat greetings and some announcements. Elaine?
Thank you, Rabbi. Just 1 second till I organize myself. I'm very happy to be here tonight. Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and thank you for joining our SEDER, a truly unique experience here at Temple Israel. But then again, we are known for being quite innovative. We also thank Rabbi Jeffrey Salkin and our musical artist in residence, Neshama Callback. Tomorrow, our Rosh Hashanah services begin at 9:30 with a short service for families with younger children. We welcome those within our community to participate via Zoom, or you can join us on our website. The day continues with multiple sessions: a 10:30 in the morning service, a 1 p.m. Torah service, a 2:30 p.m. Unatana token service, and a 3:30 p.m. shofar service. At 5:30 p.m. is our in-person tashlik on the Intracoastal directly across from our temple. Please feel free to use our parking lot. On Sunday, our family Shofar So Good will be at 11:30 at Suma Beach in West Palm Beach. This is also geared towards younger children. Throughout the week, our myriad programs include additional Shofar So Good gatherings and special presentations by Rabbi Joseph Edelheit and Abigail Pogrebin, And next Friday will be our Shabbat Shuvah, the Sabbath of return. All of our services and programs are open to our greater community via our website, www.temple-israel.com, which also contains our schedule and descriptions of services and events going on. Services are also served for later viewing on our website and on our Facebook page. Last, on a sad note, we send our deepest condolences to Stephen Fligman on the loss of his mother, Marcia Fligman, a dear, longtime member of Temple Israel. May heartwarming memories bring you some comfort at this time, Stephen. On behalf of Temple Israel's Board of Directors, we wish you and everyone a sweet and healthy new year. Shabbat Shalom, V'Lashana Tova. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
You're welcome.
I would like to thank everyone who was involved with our service. I want to thank my staff partners, Karen, Jackie, Carol Ann. You pulled us out of that.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good save. And of course, the incomparable Neshama Karlbach. Neshama,
Yes.
sing us towards the end so that these good people can have their dinner.
Okay. I'm going to sing you something new. Just going out. This is Shine, a song that we wrote for my children. May we all keep shining this year. May our days be brighter. May we rise above. May we hold each other with dignity and love. May our words reflect you. And may our voices climb. May the heavens hear us. May your light shine and shine on me and on all who need. Shine it on me, Lord, and I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe, oh Lord, shine on me. May we make whole the broken, regaining peace and pride. And may we treasure all our children and the preciousness of life. May we transcend the darkness and reach for the divine. Please hear us. May your light shine and shine on me and on all who need. Shine it on me, Lord, and I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe, oh Lord, shine on me. Through the clouds and through the rain, through the storm, I praise your name. I pray your lights will shine on me. So shine on me and on all who need. Shine it on me, Lord, and I will receive. Shine on me. It's the air I breathe, oh Lord, shine on me, oh Lord. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shana Tova. Tova, Shana Tova. Can't wait to
Shana
see you tomorrow.
Neshama, you are a gift. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you should all know something. There was a slight error in the announcements this evening. It's not Elaine's fault. Okay, it's not. It's okay. Our family service is at 9 o'clock, not 9:30. And it's going to be wonderful, especially because Neshama's son, Micah, is going to be with us, age 10.
He
a
is so
prodigy,
excited. He is
a
so
genius.
excited. Can't even tell you.
Gifted, of course. All right.
But then,
You've all been really good. I want to thank Jackie. Caroline, let's get a close-up of the challah here. Jackie did a great job with the challah. All right. You want to cut? All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Our Seder concludes as together we proclaim the beginning of the Jewish New Year. I invite you to say these words. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. And my friends, there is no breakout group. Why is this night different from all other nights? There are no breakout groups. We're not going to have our virtual Onegay Shabbat. I made a solemn covenant that we would end our Seder at 7 o'clock. It's only 7:02. So I'd like to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, B'tei Avon. And I want you to know something. In a world that's gone meshuggah, the most precious stuff that you have are the people who are sitting next to you and your loved ones who are on the screen with you. I want to give a special shout out to my son Gabriel and his girlfriend Erica, who are with us from Washington, D.C. What a joy it is for me to virtually be able to hang out with my younger son and his girlfriend. Where are they? Did they leave already? Oh, there they. Okay, they're waving to everybody. They're waving to everyone. Okay. Such nachas. They know how to wave. It's a wonderful thing. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shana Tova. See you tomorrow. Thanks. Thanks for your faith in us and in our ability to make this meaningful. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. So much love. Chag Sameach. Good Shabbos.